Welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you for joining us for another segment. We're going to be speaking with Ruby Gadelrab this evening, CEO and co-founder of MDisrupt. It's the first of its kind medical diligence company, and she's joining us to talk about their helping health tech startups demonstrate viability and bring health products to market faster and more responsibly. Welcome to the program, Ruby Gadelrab, and thank you for taking the time.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for having me.
Give us a bit of your background, if you would.
It's wonderful. So my background is I've been working in biotech, health tech, and various different healthcare companies for over 23 years on the commercial side. And I've had various different roles in business development and marketing, and over the last 5 or 6 years in executive positions. My last employed role, if you will, was I was the vice president of commercial marketing at a company called 23andMe. And that was before I started my first company prior to MDisrupt. And then I started MDisrupt a year ago.
And why did you start MDisrupt? What's the passion behind it?
So I started MDisrupt because I wanted to help health tech companies get their products to market faster and more responsibly. And so we were essentially creating a resource to help health tech companies who really wanted to disrupt, some of the wanted to create products to make medicine and healthcare better, but needed access to expertise. And we wanted to help them generate the right evidence, take the right regulatory strategy, and figure out what the right channels to get their products to market were.
Well, historically, what types of obstacles were being encountered in that process?
Yeah, so building a healthcare product takes a really, really long time. So that's one of the first obstacles. And I think a lot of the founders founding health tech companies really need to appreciate that it is a process. So that's one of the things. The second thing is the amount of data and evidence generation that needs to happen in health for health products. The bar is much, much higher than for just general technology products. And that is because you are going to use it on a patient. And not only does it have to work, but it has to be very, very safe. So that's the second bar. The third bar is that you have to pick the right regulatory strategy. So these are regulated products in a regulated environment, and you need to make sure that you are selecting the right regulatory strategy for your product. And then the other bar I would say is that working with convincing scientists and doctors to use a product. They're the most skeptical audience by nature, and they should be by virtue of what they do. And so convincing them to change a practice, a clinical practice, again, requires a lot of evidence, requires a lot of data. And so it's really, really important that these health tech companies generate that data. So these are all some of the challenges that health tech companies see. And then if the product is intended to be used in a healthcare setting by a physician or in a health system, then there are other challenges, which include how do you get the product reimbursed and how do you get it into medical society guidelines.
How has the COVID-19 pandemic added to these challenges? I mean, is the trust level higher, lower, or are people even bothering to worry about the trust and just trying to steam ahead as quickly and as efficiently as possible, waiting for things to kind of calm down?
Well, I think COVID-19 has impacted in a number of different ways. So firstly, I think the pandemic has created many new opportunities for innovation in healthcare, and it's caused innovations to be accelerating at a much higher pace. So if you imagine for many, many years, there has been the practice of telemedicine, and we've been trying to get it adopted into routine healthcare with a lot of resistance. And all of a sudden, because of COVID-19, now there is widespread adoption of telemedicine, and people in the healthcare system and also as patients and consumers, we are much more accepting of it. So what we've seen is that many health tech companies are finding new opportunities to develop products and technologies to address the pandemic. So like I mentioned, telehealth is one of them. Another opportunity has been in helping to create at-home COVID testing products. And another one has been many companies who had instruments to help labs scale their testing. And some of these companies were not actually, creating products in health or infectious disease in the first place. And so they had to make pretty quick pivots. And so this has created an opportunity because they have had to access medical experts and scientific experts really quickly. And this is where MDisrupt has come in, because what we have built is an on-demand health industry network platform where we can connect the health industry experts to the health tech companies that need their skills. And we're able to do this in a very, very quick and efficient way to put the two together so that these companies can make their products in a much more responsible way.
Does that role translate into the gig economy for healthcare workers as well? We've heard lots and lots about the gig economy in the last 5-6 years, but now, as far as healthcare workers, it seems that that's going to be another boom.
That's absolutely right. And what we are trying to build is the world's first gig economy for health industry experts. And we're seeing more and more of a need for this. And as I mentioned, COVID has actually accelerated this process. And the idea here is, as we have lots of health industry experts and scientists that have many, many years of experience in their respective fields, many of them want to help accelerate healthcare, health tech innovations. Many of them want to do side passion projects. And so we are creating the platform to help connect them to the health tech companies. And so to date, at MDisrupt, we have over 70 consultants to date, and these span the healthcare continuum and include physicians, behavioral scientists, data scientists, health economists, regulatory experts, lab directors, even commercial strategists, how you can get your product into various different aspects of the healthcare ecosystem. And so we do see that there is a new and emerging market for the expert gig economy for health industry experts.
Where can our listeners go online and learn some more?
At MDisrupt.com. That's MDisrupt.com.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing with us here on Health Professional Radio this evening.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Audio copies of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, listen in, download it, SoundCloud, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.